We're up to Lesson 9 of Section 12 Beer Characteristics, and this lesson focuses on DMS. DMS in beer. DMS is short for dimethyl sulfide. It's a compound that is perceived as a cooked vegetable aroma and flavor in beer. It's most commonly perceived as cooked corn, but can also be perceived as celery, cabbage, onion, or parsnips. In extreme amounts, it can also resemble shellfish or shrimp water. There is a related compound to DMS in beer, and that is DMTS, and that is short for dimethyl trisulfide. DMTS adds flavors and aromas similar to cooked onion or onion soup. These differ from mercaptans, which are more commonly known as thiolized these days in brewing. These are known to add a raw onion or caddy aroma to beer. This is pointed out in this entry in the exam guide because we're going to cover that onion/caddy off flavor in an upcoming session. The groundwork is being laid here that there are two distinct onion-like off flavors, and we are going to need to know the difference between the two in terms of what is producing them. Looking at some causes of DMS formation in beer, most of it starts with the precursor conversion of SMM. SMM is in the malt, and conversion is heat-induced. It's formed during the mash and boiling process. It typically evaporates in an open rolling boil. There are some factors that can affect that typical process that leave DMS behind. First is boiling for too short of an amount of time. Not allowing enough time to burn off all of those precursors can lead to DMS formation. A covered boil can also re-add DMS back into the boil by collecting on the lid and then falling back into the boil. A slow cooling of the wort can also lead to the formation of DMS. Yeast can scrub out some DMS. It does do a less efficient job at lower fermentation temperatures. It can scrub out more in a warmer fermented beer. DMS can also be produced by bacterial or wild yeast contaminations. Wild yeast or Zymomonas bacteria can create extremely high levels of DMS. In this instance, the levels of DMS are so high that it makes the beer undrinkable. There are different levels of DMS precursors in different malts. Particularly, and traditionally, it's worth noting, in Pilsner malt. Pilsner malt can contain up to 8 times more of the SMM precursor than other malts. Pilsner malt and their SMM precursors are commonly responsible for that cooked corn flavored DMS can bring to a beer. There are some styles where it is acceptable to have small amounts of DMS. Those include American Lager, Cream Ale, International Lager, Munich Helles, and German Pils. Conversely, there are some styles where it is not at all appropriate to detect any DMS, and those include ales, Czech lagers, amber lagers, and dark lagers. There are a few best practices in brewing to help control DMS we need to be aware of for our exams. A longer than average boil, typically 90 minutes or more, and a vigorous uncovered boil aids in reducing DMS. Cooling the wort to pitching temperature as quickly as possible keeps residual DMS formation from occurring. And ensuring proper fermentation practices and allowing the yeast to scrub out as much DMS as it can also helps keep those levels manageable. DMS in summary. DMS contributes a vegetable or shellfish-like flavor acceptable only in low levels of certain pale lagers. Pilsner malt and certain fermentation and boiling practices influence DMS levels. And if we detect DMS in a beer we're evaluating on our judging/tasting exam, an appropriate note to add to the score sheet may be use proper boiling and cooling practices to manage DMS in styles where it is inappropriate. And that concludes the DMS lesson. I will see you in the next one.